So I briefly want to talk about Kenya politics when it comes to the president and what Kenyans want. So it appears Kenyans want basically fairness. They want accountability and they want services to be delivered by the government. And when it comes to fairness in all forms, in being able to run their own businesses, fairness when it comes to jobs, fairness, basically a fair society, justice, accountability. They want people who can be held accountable and who have no problem being held accountable for their actions. So basically, this has to do with systems that work. So if that's what Kenyans want, you can't get that with this type of president. So I've been listening to some of the things people have been saying when it comes to presidents, and they're saying they want a president who can fix everything. And he can only fix everything if he's a harsh person, is a dictator. He has, of course, poor communication skills because he's going to be micromanaging everything since he cannot delegate and he cannot communicate and persuade people to do the job that they are hired to do. Somebody with basically poor persuasion skills, who is intolerant, who is a bad team player. So he's going to be slapping people around and terrorizing people to get the job done. So he's a bad team player. He's intolerant, he's indecisive. He needs to be able to change his mind because there are too many con men in the system, too many crooks. He needs to be compromised enough to be able to submit to some of the demands of the people. And he needs to be a tough leader. And by tough, it means that he needs to be able to basically subject the populace and people who work for government to some sort of suffering, basically torture them in one way or another, and at one point or another kill a couple of people. So that's what they mean by tough. And it needs to be no-nonsense. And this no-nonsense also is that he's not going to be tolerant. He's not just no-nonsense to mediocrity, but he's no-nonsense to basically people not doing what he wants. So this is the type of no-nonsense they're talking about. And the no-nonsense also, part of it, what they mean is it needs to be no-nonsense such that he does not accommodate different viewpoints, different ways of viewing things. He does not accommodate people who basically don't think or look like him. That's what that's all about. Also, it needs to be somebody who will discipline the system, who will make the system do what it's supposed to do. And by discipline here, this has to do with extrajudicial killings. And is basically that's the result of it's going to be extrajudicial killings because they want discipline that is visible. They want that political drama. So when you look at what Kenyans want and what they say the type of leaders they need, there's a disconnect. Because that leader that I just described, that president, cannot deliver fairness, accountability, and it cannot get the government to work as it's supposed to deliver what it's supposed to deliver. Because as I said when I was talking about the sort of president they want, that president is intolerant. He's not going to deliver fairness. When it comes to accountability, he has to be tough and harsh and indecisive. He's not going to want to be held accountable because he's just basically committing criminal activities to be able to deliver this particular part of his sort of personality. And when it comes to delivery of services, when you hire competent people, you don't need to be micromanaging them. They know what to do. You delegate and they do the job because they're competent. They know what to do. They're not getting terrorized by their boss. They're not getting terrorized by everybody left, right, and center. So they know what to do. When it comes to the issue of being sort of no-nonsense, when you hire professionals generally are trained to have discipline. So this is not something you worry about when you hire people who competent people and professionals. And if they don't do the job, of course, you get people who can do the job. It's that simple. So basically, what I'm saying is the brand that is William Ruto, for example, he belongs in the past. This is not somebody who's going to deliver what Kenyans want. He does not have the personality. He comes from that school of he has to be tough, he has to be all this and that, and everything that he has to be will not deliver what they want. So as they, as Kenyans go into the next elections, they need to realize the type of leaders they are looking for is not what I just described. Is not somebody who is harsh and just inconsiderate, intolerant, lacks persuasion skills, has poor communication skills. And by communication skills, I mean interpersonal communication skills. Because it's one thing to talk to the public. It's another thing when you have to communicate one-on-one and motivate your team to get things done. So they need to look for somebody who basically has proper communication skills, has good relations with people, is tolerant, somebody who can lead a team, somebody who can build a team and lead a team, somebody who basically does not compromise their own personal values. That because that will make them comfortable with people who don't compromise their personal values. Somebody who is basically a team player and who has self-discipline. And this is completely opposite of Ruto or William Ruto and that UDA team, because they are everything that Kenyans don't want. They're not going to deliver what Kenyans want. It's that simple. They are not going to deliver what Kenyans want. A fair society, an accountable society, a society where the government delivers, a society where people can can have an open market, and they can have a fair open market where they can have businesses and run their businesses without fear of government interrupting and destroying their businesses just because they're jealous. What Kenyans want and who William Ruto is and UDA and that brand of politics cannot deliver what Kenyans want. Basically, Ruto must go. Thank you.